Mr. Speaker,
I don't have to explain what Harry Reid does.
Yeah, I can't figure it out except that it's socialism, redistribution. Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about a controversy at the LA Times. And they are saying, they reported back in April about a 2003 goodbye party for Rashid Khalidi. Andy McCarthy's talked at length about it on National Review Online. And we've talked about it on Hannity's America. The LA Times said they have obtained a copy of the tape. That's what they reported back in April. This is a guy that was a mouthpiece for the terrorist Yasser Arafat and the PLO. At this event where Obama put lavish praise on this spokesman for the terrorist, there were numerous anti-Semitic remarks made, including a poem recited accusing the Israeli government of being a terrorist country, and other horrible things said. Zionist settlers on the West Bank being compared to Osama bin Laden. A news organization says they have obtained a copy of the tape, the LA Times. They're not releasing the tape. In light of all the other radical associations, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think, first of all, that somebody should offer a $50,000 reward to see if there's a second copy of the tape somewhere. And you might be shocked that the tape might just show up on your desk one morning, because I think that it's very suspicious that I know the elite media is totally sold out to Obama, and I know the elite media is totally committed to Obama's election. But for them to hide a tape like this is pretty extraordinary. My hunch is that what would be shocking would be very similar to Reverend Wright, or very similar to Bill Ayers, in that what you would see was the kind of hatred and the kind of viciousness, not from Senator Obama, let's be very clear. I'm certain he was calm, he was cool, he was rational, but all around him that evening, there were people who clearly would destroy Israel.
We know that. We know that for a fact. You know,
okay,
I'm running out of time.
He didn't walk out.
Yeah.
He didn't leave.
That's right.
And I think that it makes it indefensible. And I think if the average American saw on top of Reverend Wright and on top of Bill Ayers and on top of Acorn and on top of the other things we've seen.
Let me play one other thing for you.
The degree to which he was comfortable surrounded by hatred, and particularly hatred of America.
Let me play this tape because I'm running out of time. I don't ever want to cut you off here. This is important. We played the tape yesterday from this interview, but one thing was missed, where it appears that Barack Obama is comparing the United States to Nazis. I want you to hear this tape because many people have not picked up on it. Listen to this.
Just to take a sort of a realist perspective is that there's a lot of change going on outside of the court that, you know, the judges have to essentially take judicial notice of. I mean, you've got World War II, you've got the doctrines of Nazism that we are fighting against that start looking uncomfortably similar to what's going on back here at home.
Of Nazism that we're fighting against starting to look uncomfortably similar to what's going on here at home. Am I interpreting that he's comparing the U.S. to Nazi Germany?
Well, I think that he's probably referring to segregation, but I think it explains a little bit of the Reverend Wright kind of anti-Americanism, a little bit of the comments by other people in that group that said we were a mean country. I think it was part of a general pattern, but I think that it was, you know, I think that in that context, I find that probably a reference to segregation. Clearly, we're not in any way a Nazi country. We don't engage in the things the Nazis did. But it's one more strand in a generally leftist interpretation of America.
Mr. Speaker, you've been a good sport. We had some audio problems, and that thing hanging in your ear is not usually there. Thank you for being such a good sport about it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to talk to you.
And coming up, Barack